Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time watching, then welcome. Today I'm obviously in the middle of doing another look, which is a Christmas themed look, and I'm just about to do my face makeup, and I realized I haven't shown my routine on camera, so I figured I would take this time to show you guys how I do my face makeup. So the first thing that I do is apply a primer to my face, and because I use the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation, I also use the Lock-It primer, and this is just a really nice hydrating primer. I do have dry, sensitive skin, so I like to use this. It makes my face feel nice and hydrated, and it also goes well with the foundation. So I've just washed my hands because I'm going to be applying the primer with my hands, and I want to make sure I'm not putting any bacteria or any nasty stuff on there. And I just basically pump a bit of primer onto my face. And my neck. And I'm just going to rub this in. Now, you're actually supposed to apply products in an upward motion to your face because this is going to train the muscles in your face to go upright and not, you don't want to be pulling it downwards, because then you're just going to get, signs of aging faster. If you're doing that every day, then you're almost training the muscles to go downwards instead of upwards, which is what we want. And I actually have trouble with this. I try and remember to tell myself to do this, but sometimes it just feels more natural to go downwards. So that's something I'm working on. Now it's time to apply the foundation. So obviously I use the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation, and the shade that I use is Light 44 Cool. No, Light 46 Cool. I used to use 44 Cool and it was too light for me. And same thing with the primer, I'm going to pump some onto my face. When I'm doing the foundation, I tend to just do like the bottom half first. And so the brush that I use to apply this, because I use a brush at the moment, I used to use a sponge, but I really like this brush. So I use this Real Techniques oval foundation brush, and it's just nice and densely packed, and it just does a really nice job of applying it. I'll kind of spread it out first before buffing it in. Probably put a little bit too much on my nose. This is why I don't do it on camera, to be honest. Then I'll do my forehead. And then my neck. I try not to apply too much to my neck because I don't want it to, be obvious that just my neck is covered. So I just do a little bit so that it blends in nicely. And obviously my chest is darker than my neck for some reason. I've got very fair skin, I'm half Irish, so I think that contributes to my dark chest, I get a lot of sun there. And my skin's very sensitive to the sun, should I add? Okay, I think that is a really nice match for my skin tone at the moment. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight. Now, the product that I use to highlight my face is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair Neutral. This one is almost empty, I've I've removed the the thing that stops it from putting too much on. And I've got a new one here, but I don't want to open it until I finish this one. So hopefully this will be good enough. And I've applied this to under my eye. I just do like one area at a time pretty much because I don't want it to set. And I'm going to buff that in. This is like a really small beauty blender that I've dampened. I got this from Kmart for like $2 for a pack of 2, so it's a really good deal. And then I'll just tap that on and blend it out, turning it on the side to go up along that kind of winged part. So you can see that's just brightened up my under eye really nicely. Then I move on to the next eye. And I just blend that down onto the cheekbone a bit so that it's a nice subtle blend and it doesn't just stop abruptly. Next thing that I do is I'll do my nose. And I also add some to my Cupid's bow and to my chin. And if there's little spots, you know, some blemishes, I'll just add a little bit to those as well. I always do the Cupid's bow first because that's the least amount of product and I don't want that to set. And then my nose, which I'll blend up into in between the eyebrows because I've carved my eyebrows out using that same concealer. So I want to make sure it all, you know, kind of joins up nicely. And then I'll do a little bit on my forehead and I try and get it like close to the brows so that again it matches up and blends in nicely with what I've already put around the eyebrows. I'm turning it on its side so that I can get it nice and close to the brow line. Blending that outwards, and then I'll do the same on the other side, and then I can do the middle and blend it like upwards and kind of around just like in a semicircle. I find that the hardest part about like highlighting your face is doing the forehead because I end up just like covering my whole forehead in concealer. So that's the concealer part done. Now I'm going to go in with my Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder. This is in Sugar Cookie, which is just like a white or translucent shade. I'm not entirely sure if it's white or translucent. I can't tell. But so I've got it, you know, I've got the lot of powder in the top there. I'm dipping my Beauty Blender Kmart sponge into it. And I'm not adding too much, like it's not going to be like a baking kind of like amount. Well, you know, it's not a lot. And I just press that in there. In the same order as the way that I applied the concealer. When doing the forehead part, it's important to not put too much on the sponge because I've done that before and I've had the translucent powder fall onto my eyebrow and like make it go white, which didn't look good. And I try and get as close to the eyebrow as possible. Oh yeah, you can see I've already got some powder on there. So that's something to try and avoid. So that's that part done. Next, I go in with a powder foundation. So I go in with the MAC Studio Fix powder, and this is in the shade NW20, which is actually not the right shade for me. I'm more of an NC20, which is like, they're the same like darkness, but this is more of a warm toned, and I've got more of a cool undertone, like a pinky undertone. But the powder's fine. Like obviously the liquid foundation isn't too good, and I'm applying this on it's a kabuki brush, and I just kind of press this into the other places where I haven't set yet, you know. And the reason I dab it instead of like, you know, brush it is because I don't want the foundation to kind of like spread or separate, you know, which can happen. Now I will brush off the powder, the translucent powder, because I don't see a need to bake it for too long. So I'm just using that same brush and like kind of flicking it away. But at the same time, I guess it kind of presses it in. And next I'll go in with the bronzer. I use the Tarte Parquet Princess bronzer, which I've just started using recently, a few months ago, and I really, really like it. I got a tester from Sephora, you know how you can choose all your little samples, and I just thought like it just looked really nice and I loved it, so I bought the full-size one. Prior to that I was using the, well, I can't use that again. It broke and went all over the table. This seems to be like a common occurrence on my channel, you know, like products like breaking and going everywhere. I'm just gonna sweat this. Now I've got bronzer all over my hand, but yeah, that was the MAC Refined Golden bronzer. I'll have to save that so I can take it back and get my free product once I have enough empty containers. By the way, if you guys didn't know about that, if you take, I think, 6 empty MAC like packaging things back to the store, they'll give you like a free lipstick or a free eyeshadow, which I've done before, and I got a really nice lipstick, so I'm really happy with that. So always hold on to them. I'm just gonna go wash my hands. Okay, so I take the bronzer and I apply it with this like angled, I think it's like supposed to be a blush brush, but I like using this for my bronzer. And I don't use a contour like concealer or anything like that. I do have the Fenty Beauty matchsticks kind of bronzer contour thing, but I don't tend to use it that often because I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. I'll use it occasionally, like if I'm going out somewhere, or you know, like for nighttime use, so I need that more like dramatic kind of effect. But yeah, for day-to-day wear, or most of the time anyway, I don't. So I just use a bronzer for highlighter, and I apply that to my, you know, my cheekbone, obviously. I think what I like about this bronzer is that it's like not too warm toned, it's kind of nice and cool toned, which goes nicely with my skin color, because like I was saying before, I don't have a warm kind of undertone, it's more cool or neutral. So I just go back and forth like that, like kind of almost in a small circle. Well, it's not a small circle, but it's like, it's not really a circle, but it kind of is. I'll apply around the hairline, because I have a big forehead, so I like to make it look as small as possible. We'll give the effect that it's as small as possible. So if you guys didn't know, what you're doing essentially with contouring and highlighting is the lighter shades bring things forward and the darker shades kind of pull them back. So if you have like a large forehead or you're self-conscious about your forehead, then that's a really good thing to do, because you're highlighting this area here and it's bringing the attention to the center, and then by darkening this up, it almost kind of gives the effect that your forehead is smaller than it actually is. And also, apparently what you're trying to do is you're trying to create like an oval face shape. So for example, if you had a square face where it was like this, then you would want to contour there, all the corners of the square to make it more oval shaped. But I think I have like a diamond face shape, so I don't really know how to contour to make it more oval. I guess I would kind of contour this part here at the top of my cheekbones, but I really like having those like high prominent cheekbones, so I just leave it. And so I'm contouring my chin, and then I bring it down onto my neck as well. I just kind of do the outer like sides, you know. I guess it kind of makes your neck look a bit rounder, but I mean, I'm not sure of anyone who actually complains about their neck not looking round enough. And I just got to make sure it's blended nicely so it's like not a harsh line. And then I'll take just like the tiniest bit and just kind of like lightly dust it on the sides of my nose. I'm not like hugely into nose contour because I've tried to do it before and I ended up with just like a brown stripe down my nose on either side, and it just looked like really silly. And I'm not that self-conscious about my nose like from the front side of it. I'm more kind of self-conscious about my side profile, and like you can add a little bit there. I mean, looking at my nose now, I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks like a Squidward nose. Can't afford a nose job yet, but mark my words, once I have enough money, I will get one. Okay, so that's the bronzing, contouring part done. And then I will take another brush. So this is just like it's just like a fluffy powder brush. I don't really know what you call that. And I will apply some blush. So I always use, well today I'm going to be using my NARS blush. This is in the shade Orgasm. It's like a cult favorite, you know, like it's huge because it just goes nicely on every skin tone. And I'm using this today because it's just nice and subtle, and it's got like this nice gold reflect, which I'm going to be using a gold highlight, so it will go nicely. Just kind of pat that on as well to begin, and then I can start like kind of flicking it away. But it just adds that little bit of colour back into your face. I never really liked blush that much, or I didn't see the purpose of wearing blush until about a year ago, and I went to makeup school and I started wearing it because we were talking about it and stuff, and I just noticed like it just really made a huge difference. I'm not sure how, I can't explain it, but I don't know, I feel like maybe it just gives some like more dimension, like it's not so two-dimensional like sepia tone on the face, which is good. Some people do that. I occasionally will put blush other places. And then I'll highlight. So my favorite highlighter, or like favorite brand of highlighters, is got to be the Lime Crime highlighters. I like a nice, I guess people always say it's like a chunky glittery type. I'm not sure about that, like if I would call it chunky and glittery, but a lot of people do, so I guess it is. And so I'm going to apply this with, this is like an all over, like it's like a fluffy facial highlighting brush. I don't know what to call it. It's a Morphe M451 if you're interested. And what I'll do is I'll take some water, like this is actually just water, it's not Fix Plus, I just refilled it with water because I like the bottle. And I'll spray the brush, like I'll rotate it and make sure I get every edge And then I'll kind of just like slide it like that, like I'm taking mint leaves off a stalk or something. And I'll just like on one side add the highlighter, and I'll put this on top of my cheekbones. And I always go back in and just do another layer just because I like to be glowing. I love like a crazy highlight, not a subtle highlight. And then I'll flip it over to the clean side because that side is obviously still moist, and do the other cheekbone. And then I'll do like my Cupid's bow, where I kind of just like drag down, and like on my cheekbone I kind of go across, and then sometimes I'll do like little circles. And then I'll do the tip of my nose. I don't know why, but I just love like nose highlight. I don't drag it all the way up, I just do the tip. There we go, that is the face highlighted. And yeah, basically that's all it is. Then I'll finish off the rest of my makeup. I'll add lipstick and, you know, do the lower lash line and apply lashes. That's not what this video is about, it's just about skin, so I'm done that. But yeah, that is how I do my face makeup. I mean, I'm not like too confident in sharing this like process with you guys because I feel like there's probably a lot of other people out there who, I don't know, like I feel like they just do it better, or I don't know. It's just something that I'm not too confident with sharing with everyone because I feel like it's something that people can easily judge you on. And like I mainly just focus on doing eye looks, that's kind of my thing. So I tend to just leave that out of my videos, but I wanted to share with you guys and just show you guys the way that I do it. Like it's not the way it has to be done, but I just figured that I would share with you how I do it, and it might be able to just give you some insight, maybe pick up something here and there. One thing that I didn't put in is sometimes I'll leave the powder on the face and then I'll apply the bronzer, and I'll just use the translucent powder to draw a line from like here to like the corner of my mouth. I'm not sure why, like I guess it just makes it more defined so it's not like coming down the face a bit more, but I don't really mind that. Like I think it's nice and like it makes it blend in a bit more, so I only do that every now and then, just when I feel like it. It's just something, yeah, I do randomly. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then please thumbs up and subscribe, and tick that little bell button so you can get notified every time I post a new video. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.